Welcome to Menopause 51's podcast Meno Musings, where we talk all things menopause to raise awareness and knowledge through personal stories and professionals. And today, this month, I'm really excited to be talking about one of the less visible symptoms of menopause, which often goes undetected and hidden until back pain or fractured bones surface. And this is osteoporosis. And we know that menopause is one of the most common causes of osteoporosis. And 1 in 2 menopausal women will experience osteoporosis. And today I'm joined by Zoe Longford-Brown, who works to empower and support women to lead a healthier lifestyle through good nutrition and exercise. And Zoe is going to talk to us today about osteoporosis and, importantly, about what we can be doing to support good bone health during and after menopause, as well as well before we even reach menopause. Zoe, welcome to Meno Musings.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So we know, Zoe, that people going through perimenopause and menopause have an increased risk of osteoporosis. So what is osteoporosis and what role does estrogen play?
Yeah, of course. So it's really important to note, kind of to start with, that bones are actually living tissues that naturally rebuild themselves during your life. And sadly, after about the age of 30, you start to lose bone faster than your body can actually make it. And this results in an increased risk of breakages. This becomes even more critical after menopause, because when you go through menopause, your levels of estrogen and other hormones drop really sharply. And one of estrogen's roles is that it helps maintain bone density, which is why a drop can be such an issue, because it leads to bone loss and over time low bone density, which leads us to osteoporosis, which is the disease where your bone density is so low that the bones are brittle and can break really easily.
So estrogen's really got that vital role to play, by the sound of it, in maintaining healthy bone. And so we'll enter perimenopause with a certain level of, let's say, healthy bone, if you like, or bone density, bone mass. And then after that point, that good bone is not maintained for as long with the lower estrogen levels.
Definitely, because yeah, it's, as I said, it's decreasing after the age of 30, which is maybe why some people have an issue with the age of 30. I don't know. But then it, obviously that risk starts off quite slowly decreases, and then you hit menopause, and with that estrogen, it just kind of plummets down, which is why a lot of problems and so many women experience osteoporosis as well when it comes to menopause.
And so is osteoporosis something which all those transitioning through menopause are at risk of? And how can someone who is transitioning through menopause find out, whether they have healthy bones and healthy, density, bone density?
Yeah, of course. So it's important to know that on average, women lose up to 10% of their bone mass in the first 5 years after menopause, which is quite a sad statistic. And really, to kind of find out how healthy your bones are, a bone density scan, they're often used to diagnose or assess your risk of osteoporosis, so you are aware of it. A bone density scan, it uses low dose x-rays to see how dense or how strong your bones are, and this is a quick and painless scan. It's more effective than normal x-rays at identifying low bone density, and it's important to kind of see if you can get assessed to find out where you are, because osteoporosis doesn't actually have any other symptoms until a bone is broken, and obviously we don't want our bones to be broken, so you want to get aware and checked when you can. So I know that you mentioned earlier that research has shown that sadly about 1 in 2 women over the age of 60 will experience at least one fracture due to osteoporosis, and that's a really high number.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about osteoporosis, isn't it? Is that it's actually a very hidden symptom, and that, like you say, until you get to that, sort of quite extreme where you've, fractured a bone, and then you're in a lot of pain and can be in a long road to recovery, you don't even realize that actually you may be suffering from osteoporosis.
Yeah.
And how do you access these x-rays and this assessment that you were talking about? Is it a GP? Does your GP refer you? What's the sort of process?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, your first port of call always needs to be with your GP. And if you go onto the NHS website, actually it does put, if you look up these bone density scans, it does say that menopausal women are at an increased risk. So you kind of, if you're worried about it, you will be in that kind of bracket to then go and get help. So first port of call to be with the GP, so you can then get referred on to finding out what your bone density is.
Right. And I think really importantly, isn't it, people are thinking, well, if this is something that I'm going to be facing, what can I do, during menopause, perimenopause, before perimenopause, when I'm in menopause, postmenopause, what can I be doing to support good bone health?
Yeah, this is definitely my more favorite part to speak about, because it can be all a bit doom or gloom otherwise, and it's important to know that there are things that we can do. So there's obviously different degrees of osteoporosis, and catching it earlier can really help you prevent the condition from worsening. You cannot reverse bone loss on your own, but there are lots of ways that you can stop further bone loss. So some of the lifestyle factors, they actually play a really huge part, and the first one being nutrition. We all know what we eat is important, so it is very important to have a balanced diet, and you really want to include foods that are rich in calcium, so we're looking at dairy foods and green leafy vegetables, and also vitamin D, which is found in oily fish, and also you can take a supplement for it as well. You want to ensure that you're giving your body what it needs and having a healthy balance that's going to support your bones. And there are other lifestyle factors as well, such as reducing alcohol consumption, sadly. Sorry, as also sad ones.
Reducing though, not having to completely cut out, but
exactly.
reducing,
definitely, and also stopping smoking as well, because they do have a huge part. My favorite part of it is the exercise side, and we all know that regularly exercising can help keep our bones kind of strong and healthy, but it's knowing kind of what to do. If you are concerned about your bone density, I would really recommend avoiding high impact activities, which includes sudden or forceful movement. So kind of high intensity interval training can be an example of this, when you're jumping and flying around and doing burpees and all this stuff. Instead, you really want to focus on doing weight-bearing exercise, such as walking, tai chi, tennis, dancing. Basically, this refers to any exercise where your feet and legs bear the weight of your body weight. And also, my personal favorite thing to do is resistance / strength training. So they kind of mean the same things. It's so incredibly important. Not only does it help to maintain muscle mass and strength, but what many of us don't know is that strong muscles leads to strong bones, and there are numerous studies showing that strength training can actually play a role in slowing bone loss, and several actually show that it can build bone. So strength and resistance workouts, particularly those that include emphasizing power and balance, will enhance your strength and stability. And if we think about more ways that we can prevent the risk of us kind of breaking something, is if you've got enhanced strength and stability, it gives us such a confidence boost, because we're able to go around our day-to-day lives and actually cut down the risks of falls, because we're more balanced and we are stronger overall. So for adding this into your training, I'd really recommend adding strength / resistance training in about twice a week, between 30 to 60 minutes. Twice a week is kind of one to start with, and you can slowly build up for there. And doing aerobic exercise, the weight bearing kind, 2 to 3 times a week. And it's just really important that it fits in with your lifestyle, because I know maybe if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start small. You know, you don't need a fancy gym membership, you don't need any fancy equipment, you can carry it, you know, you can do these things all in the comfort of your own home with bodyweight exercises and small pieces of equipment. As you get stronger, it's really about kind of finding a routine that's going to work well for you. And with just a few short, low impact strength training workouts, you can build up from there.
I think that's really important, isn't it? You know, you mentioned about finding what works for you, what fits your lifestyle and the context in which, you know, you're in, you know, and I think that's like so much of when we're thinking about menopause. You know, there's a lot going on. You know, we may have stressful, busy jobs, we may have children, we may be caring for elderly parents. There can be so much going on in our lives, and it's about carving out that time for ourselves, isn't it, and finding something that works with our routine, that we're comfortable with. And I can imagine that for a lot of women, finding something that you can do in your own home, is easily accessible, would be really appealing.
Definitely, because it can feel quite off-putting as well if you think, well, how on earth am I supposed to find time for this on top of everything else? And I often find with the clients that we work with in particular, you know, if we're looking at their day, going to a gym or going to somewhere is often precious time that you don't have. You can be spending that time, you know, doing the exercises that are going to make the difference to you. So yeah, just because you train at home doesn't mean you're not going to, you know, you're not going to get results, not at all. It's just about finding the right ones that are going to work well for you.
Yeah. And starting, I imagine, starting small if you have to, just to get yourself into it. Don't sort of feel that the overwhelm of I have to start with, you know, a 30 or a 40-minute sort of workout. I can start small and I can build, and, you know, in that way you sort of build your confidence, but you also probably build your enthusiasm and your motivation for, you know, for wanting to build this into your weekly routine.
Definitely. I mean, even something like 10 minutes a day, even to start with, if you think about that in your week, you know, if you did that, you know, Monday right through to Friday, that's 50 minutes. That's 50 minutes that you're not doing at the moment. These small things add up and they do make a difference. I think often we think, oh, if I don't have a full 60 minutes to do, you know, a workout, there's no point. And that just simply isn't the case. You know, there isn't, the bones don't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The time, they are just kind of responding to what you are doing. So remember that you will make a difference if you start small and build up.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that for those who might be listening and who are perhaps approaching menopause, actually it's really important to be thinking about this now, or even earlier, isn't it? You know, the earlier, the sort of better, to be building up so that you've got a really good bone mass density before you reach the menopause.
Definitely. I mean, I say to all my clients, no matter, you know, their age, let's get some strength training in, because, you know, as I said at the beginning, that age of 30, things go downhill, sadly. Yeah. So the earlier you can do it, the earlier you can put it in, not only the better you're going to feel, because it is such a great feeling when you feel strong, you feel healthy, but it's going to protect you so much, and just means that, you know, when you do go through the menopause and, you know, all these nasty things that we don't want to happen, the estrogen dropping, you're going to have such resilience there, because you've kind of got that baseline strength. So you're going to be in a really good position moving forwards.
Yeah, so just building in some good intents and some good habits, by the sound of it, go a long way there. And then aside from sort of the lifestyle changes, Zoe, that we've sort of been talking about, what sort of treatments are available to help prevent osteoporosis outside of those lifestyle pieces?
Yeah, of course. So to kind of explore these treatments, it's really important that you talk to your GP or your specialist to determine what's right for you, because obviously it's very complex and everybody is different, so they're going to need different things. There are some things that can obviously be supplemented in, like calcium and vitamin D, and there's also hormone replacement therapy, so HRT, and, you know, all these have been shown, you know, hormone and drug therapies have been shown to slow bone loss or improve improve bone mass. So it's really the individual case that you want to work with your GP or specialist to determine what's right for you, but there are lots of options out there.
Yeah, so it's about getting that appointment, booking that, which we've talked about before, I know, on Meno Musings. Book those double appointments, get into your GP, have the conversation, ask all the questions. There's no silly questions, and explore what's right for you and what's safe for you.
Definitely.
That's been really great. Thank you, Zoe, for sharing all your thoughts around that. What's one key takeaway that you would leave our listeners with when it comes to really thinking about osteoporosis and reducing how they can reduce their risk of osteoporosis?
Yeah, so I know that we've just touched on this, but I wanted to kind of re-go over it because I know listening to this, it may seem very scary or daunting, especially if we're looking at lifestyle factors and making the change that do make a difference. But, like I've said, once you start strength training, you'll never look back. And I actually, I got my mum in her 50s to start strength training, and her main motivation for that was to prevent osteoporosis, because that was something she was very concerned of. And she really didn't. She was very resistant to the strength training to start with. She did not want to do it. But I said, look, here's Mum, I'm qualified. Here's all the research. Here's what we can do to help you. And I really kind of guided her step by step. And we started off very, very small. I think she was doing 15 to 20 minutes 3 times a week, and I set her strength exercises. And as she felt the difference, as she felt stronger, her confidence grew to the point where she actually bought herself equipment. She wanted to go to classes, join a gym, because she felt so good in herself. And now she's really into her yoga. So, as well as reducing your risk and feeling strong in yourself, it can give you so much freedom to, enjoy your life and enjoy everything that life has to offer, because you're not worried about, I'm not sure I can do this, I'm a bit worried, what if I fall, because you feel good within yourself. And there's nothing that can take away that feeling. So it is worth it. Those changes are scary, yes, but it is so worth it, and take it one small step at a time.
I really love that about feeling good within yourself, and I think that's something that often those going through menopause really need, and exercise, I'm sure, helps lower the risk of osteoporosis, but also a number of other symptoms and areas and things that people are experiencing as they transition through menopause. So thank you very much for sharing that. And for joining us today on Meno Musings. It's been lovely to have you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
So do check out Zoe's website if you want to know more about how Zoe can provide tailored individual support. I will include these details when I drop the podcast, so you'll find it there. Check it out. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to seeing you next month.